Let's get started. This is the Ann Arbor Downtown Development Authority meeting, June 23rd. Due at 8 in the morning. Let's do a roll call.
Good morning. Michael Bartolome,
Here.
Alexandra Deek, Milton Dahoney, Jihei Kim, Tyler Kinley,
Here.
Jessica Letaw, Jonathan Massey, Darren McKinnon.
Thank you. I think first, I have a motion to approve the board meeting agenda. Much discussion being done. All those in favor of approving the board meeting agenda, please say aye. Aye. Please say nay. Board meeting agenda is approved. We're going to move pretty quickly through today. Got a lot to cover, so let's hop right into it. Finance, Mike, got you.
Thanks, Tyler. I'm going to move forward with the following resolution. I'll ask for a second. The resolution to adopt the DDA budget for fiscal year 2020. City Council approved the DDA FY23 budget as submitted in March. Adoption by the DDA board is the final step of the budget process. Committee recommends the adoption of the DDA FY23 budget.
Any further discussion? Vote here. All in favor of the resolution to adopt DDA budget for fiscal year 23, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. Resolution approved.
Thanks, Tyler. I have another resolution to move. I'll be asking for a second. The resolution to adopt an amendment to the fiscal year 2020. Thank you, Darren. We have also discussed this. City Council approved the amendment to the DDA's FY22 budget, reflecting an anticipated increase in parking revenues and directly related expenditures, including volume of processing fees, primarily credit cards, and our revenue share with the city. Adoption by the DDA board is the final step in the amendment process. The committee is also recommending the adoption of
At length, we're doing better than we thought. Okay. Any discussion? All those over favor of the resolution to adopt and amend the budgets, say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Pass.
Tyler, I've got one final resolution to move forward. I'll also be asking for a second here. This is the resolution to remove the 2016 restriction on parking system fund balance for the construction of additions to the public parking system for alternative transportation. Darren, we've also discussed this several times. The DDA board approved a resolution in 2016 to segregate parking funds for future construction of additions to the public parking system for alternative transportation. Parking system sustained some significant revenue losses due to reduced activity during the pandemic. With these revenue losses and anticipated reduced revenue going forward, the DDA does not anticipate any parking system construction in the foreseeable future. The committee recommends approval of the resolution to remove the restriction on these funds.
Any discussion among the board? I think we went over this before as well. All those in favor of the resolution to remove the 2016 restriction on parking system fund balance for construction of additional parking, public parking system or alternative transportation infrastructure. Aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. Worthiest resolution passed.
Finally, found that there is no finance committee meeting scheduled for July. The next finance committee meeting is scheduled for September 1st at 9 a.m.
Wonderful. Well, they have been moved to 4 below here. Sure. We'll get there?
Yeah, we didn't. Move forward. He actually did comment on that. All right, I'm on that.
Sure, sure. The operations committee, I have a resolution here. I'd like to move the resolution to approve the selection of Pullman SST as a contractor for the fiscal year 23 parking structure repairs. Second. Discussion. So this was a request was issued on the 17th of May. We got 5 responses. The scope of work includes concrete block repairs as well as waterproofing work. Getting 5 bids was exciting. We went through the scoring process. Pullman was the low bidder and was the highest scorer, so that felt good. It was also deemed just a very good response. Our committee recommends the selection of Pullman for a base contract amount of $937 for $59,450. Discussion. Anything else? They were great response, great bids. We're excited there. All those in favor of the resolution to approve the selection of Pullman SST as contractor for the year 22 parking structure repairs, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Passes. The next meeting is Wednesday, August 31st at 11 a.m. Capital improvement, Alex.
I also have a resolution to move, so I'll be asking for a second. So I'd like to move a resolution to approve the selection of Bonds and Company as the contractor for the Miller Catherine project.
Second. Good one. Second.
Thanks. For some background, Miller Catherine construction project includes 2-way separated bike lane on the south side of Miller Catherine Street, First Street Division. Utility improvements to support the Housing Commission's planned development at 121 East Catherine Street, including water and shrub sizing between Main Street and Fourth Avenue, a new fire hydrant, and new water and fire service lane. Noted in your memo in your packet, the DDA's total commitment to the Housing Commission's project is approximately $1.2 million. Over 50% of the total capital cost support the affordable housing development in this location. A request for proposal was issued on May 10th for construction of the Miller Catherine bike lane. As discussed, staff followed the new city procurement policy while the DDA is developing its own policy. 2 responses were received, which is great. Fonson Company was determined to be the most responsive. The committee recommends approval of the selection of Fonson Company as the contractor with a base contract amount of $2,072,697. At the meeting, we also that's the resolution.
Yeah,
I need to abstain from this due to conflict of interest. Not usually keep the room for any discussion.
No.
No? Okay. Don't participate. Sorry, trying to get it in. Going fast.
Okay. All those in favor of the resolution to approve the selection of Fonson Company as contractor for the Miller Catherine Bikeway project, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Resolution passes.
All right, and I've got some additional updates from the CIC committee. At the meeting, a lot of the discussion in relation to this resolution is we discussed when Amber kind of highlighted what we are learning as we select contractors through this approach. So we use the city approach, DDA's kind of developing its own. Based on what we learned with this, we're going to kind of tweak ours as well. Staff reminded us that the RFP scoring does not reflect overall contractor qualifications, rather the specific proposal submitted in the evaluation criteria. Very specific criteria and how to fit. And we also have some State Street construction updates. Last week, the contractor working on the State Street project to a water service lead. City records showed only 6 service leads in the area, but there were actually 7. Thus creating an unexpected situation for the contractor. This is an example of the kinds of unexpected things that arise with underground infrastructure. No environmental or safety concerns resulted. Water main work proceeds on schedule, and stormwater work is expected to start next week. And then last, the next CIC meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, July 20th at 11 a.m.
Head committee. Okay.
Sorry, I actually wasn't at the committee meeting.
Oh, right.
And some things that you said I actually on this, but the presentation on sustainability energy utility is actually online. She's done a peer reported version of it. And I can follow.
The executive committee, today the executive committee did not meet. So we have nothing to review. Our next committee meeting is Wednesday, September 7th at 11:30 a.m. That is it for our subcommittee reports. Approval. Like, motion to approve. All those in favor of discussion? All those in favor of approving the June minutes, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Passes. Reports from city boards and commissions. Do you have any reports today? We have none. We have none. Okay, DDA members communication session. So any members communication?
One.
Yeah.
Just wanted to mention, I've been working in collaboration with the staff at the evening when I presented the budget, to city council, I can indicate that going forward, we need to pay additional things like dealing with alleys, and high level cleaning, restrooms. One of the posting 3 public engagement sessions with downtown stakeholders this summer. 2 will be virtual, 1 will be in person at City Hall. And just wanted to acknowledge the participation, the staff here, and the the board, and I'll be doing that. And the plan is to take the input that's received from those engagements and help us in planning for the FY24 budget. And we can't do everything, we're clear about that. So we need to figure out strategically what will make the most impact. Look forward to that.
That's great. Glad to hear more about when those are.
From I'd love to know.
Yeah.
How stakeholders are all of those things. Yeah, there's going to be some information sent out in the next few days about dates and times. Welcome all. It's great. How are you doing the outreach? Public notice. It's a mixture of people that could be working more, and then I've got their assistants with something that can do our own projects as well. Going more and area. It doesn't have to be people that are in downtown proper. Obviously, that's the main focus, but one of the ideas I want to talk about floated conversation around Baltimore, beyond downtown. And some people don't like that, but they circular economy philosophy. But I hear from a lot of residents and say, why don't we get services that other places get? And I'm not saying we're going to do that. We don't talk about it.
That's exciting. We'll look forward to when those are coming back. Executive Director report.
Good morning. As I think the board is certainly well aware, there have been some issues around the number of board members and vacancies. And I'm pleased to be able to report I've had a conversation with the mayor about that and about appointments. Spoke with him a couple of weeks ago about that, and he understands the problem and pleased to be able to move forward. Basically looking at it from the point of view in order for the DDA to have quorums of meetings and be able to do business. He's going to be putting forward applications for board members. I'm pleased to share that at council this week, he did put forward an application for one new board member, which I have no reason to expect that it won't be approved. The person that his application put forward is Michael Michelon, who is director of the Ann Arbor Summer Festival. Actually had coffee with him, not about the board appointment, but I had coffee with him last week, and that was one of the subjects we chatted about, and he's very enthusiastic about it and for the opportunity to serve. Additionally, although the applications actually go to the city clerk, they sent us a copy of applications, and we received a couple of other applications. I've not reached out to the mayor about these applications yet, but we'll be doing so in a few days, and it looks like we're going to be moving forward very affirmatively to fill all of the vacancies for the board in relatively short order. So that is good news, and to answer your question.
That's needed and exciting. Thanks. New business, everybody else, new business to learn about and test our rules that are nervous itself, but we have a story.
So, as you all know, the review for the review scheme drawn. And one of the things that I'm doing is a government email access to the so I was wondering if that's it.
Essentially, we're going to be reaching out to the community to get feedback on Jeff's relationship and interaction. And the board has empowered the committee to do the work, but we would like to ask for the community, for the board's approval, for GMA to be the community representative as a.
And then that would mean an email or the DDA.
An email, right, in which Sarah and Kelly will help set up and configure and make sure that we're in compliance with everything. But it's more, we as a board rarely, if ever, empower individuals to do things and never do it without group approval. This would typically be done at the executive committee that's in this month for the board.
Okay. And the conversation has already been going about this. Great. We need any.
Well, I guess we need to, yeah. So it's not a resolution, right? You just need to ask for work. Should be a resolution. Okay. All right. So, sorry.
Make sausage right now.
We gotta make the sausage right now.
All right. So there's been a motion to approve Him as the executive board and board representative, executive review creation process, and empowering for communicate on the board's behalf with new,
To the outside.
the outside.
Yeah, that's the
Do I have a second? Discussion.
I don't want this. I don't like making sausage at the table here. I think, on the email thing, I've always thought it weird that the full board doesn't have, we all have, I set up a separate email just for DDA communications when I first came on board. I would say step one is, let's have a resolution that all board members get DDA emails. And if we want to appoint GA as the person for this topic, then great, but I would say that all communications coming from that account, copy all the other board members so that there's as much transparency as possible of what communications have. Or there's one big account that we all have access to, I don't know. That's,
And I guess too, as you're receiving, you have to be, we need to be conscious of we're open to being asked, the point of it. So when we're all on an email, there can't be decisions made, there can't be shorthand, okay, so we're doing this. So I think we need more information about how to get certain information and to just be very aware that we cannot be making decisions, having now that.
As much decision as the frequency of the software requires a email. And the individual is appropriate to come from one step.
Well,
Separate. And the email does not have to be like in my name, it could be under basically.
And it may actually even end up being a staff email. I hear your concerns and I want to get to that, but the point of the resolution is more than empower DDA as the person in charge of kind of interfacing with the community. I also want to acknowledge that we're dealing with HR issues here, and so yes, I believe in more transparency, and I want us to think about what that looks like. I hear what you're saying there about the board and email addresses. I think that's more your question, but I would love for us to take on to be able to look at other board city, how they manage it, and what that would look like for us. I would like for us to be able to field those questions. And I'm not 100% sure, I'm looking at Sarah because that's who we've been talking to about this, that you even need that email address in order to be able to do the process. It was just kind of a just in case thing.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, the point of the email is that any official communication that represents the DDA should come from a DDA email. It doesn't matter what email it is. Staff is empowered because of our regular duties to act administratively on behalf of the organization. But individual board members are not. Board members act. So administrative role, it does happen at times that's appropriate. As when Tyler negotiated a just contract. Or authorized him to do that work. That's what we're talking about here, is authorizing GA to do the administrative tasks of pulling the order review together, sending it over to a world that can all become like that's kind of the decision. If I include correctly from our this one, because we don't come to the software, not necessarily to individuals.
And we're also working in compliance with laws around, employment, HR.
A bit of the, as we're creating this thing process, we're turning over all these stones, finding, oh, we gotta take care of this, we gotta take care of this. Seems like we turned over a stone and found this. And a little bit is starting to feel like it's like, well, we all have to have, we all have email on this. We don't want to mix too much. Sounds like we just sort of solve this momentary one. I appreciate the fact that you think about it. It's not just saying, like, okay, just sort of email them.
I'm comfortable with the limited scope of this with GA doing this. I think we decided a long time ago, we do want a board oversight of this administrative process for doing our executive. I think that makes sense. I'm comfortable.
So with regard to you're comfortable with the limited scope, in the language of this resolution, that you want to sort of scope that correctly. So in the language that we're crafting, you help me right now, sort of like.
I think what you said was okay. I mean, we're creating a DDA email address, which DDA will be kind of the board members interact with receiving that, but in reality, that's part of it. It's going, to a big portal of data.
just the login software.
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah.
No, we don't currently have any process for board approval to set up. email addresses. The email address itself is a part of board members can have the email address.
So we just need to
that GK is the one interacting with this administrative process.
So you're suggesting we don't do a DDA email? Like,
I'm
just
suggesting that not be a part of the language.
Oh.
Correct, resolution, just authorize the, or authorize GA to administer the review process.
So resolution to approve DA and board representative, executive director of the process, and our administrative to administer the process. Okay,
Thanks for
yeah, this is perfect for this sort of picture. So, do we feel comfortable with the resolution to approve DA Kim as board representative for the executive director of the process and empower her to administer the process? Feel good? Yes. My language there.
I'm really good, I know where I was from all.
The feedback from whatever the survey is, goes to the portal, and then you would access them and share with the board.
All in favor of the resolution to GA Kim as board representative, the executive director of the process, empower her to administer the process, please say aye. That's but,
Thank you, no, and we are sorry to do it on the fly, this is something that we're trying and are running this order to try to keep the process going, knowing the board will have been until the earliest in August, and we're trying to adjust to why to really shape all flexibility and willingness.
and you guys did bring it up. If we could play the fast and lose the story, you know, and I think this is a much better way to go about it. Okay, agenda number 9, public comment. Do we have any members of the public who wish to speak? 4 minutes. Not having members of the public to speak. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? All right, all in favor of adjourning the for the meeting, say aye. All opposed, please say nay. Meeting is adjourned. Okay. Good morning, welcome to DDA's annual meeting. My name is Bill Tyler, Bill, DDA board chair. We will begin today with, or do we need to do anything in regards to roll call?
Yes.
We do need to do roll call, okay. Roll.
Certainly. Micah Bartelme,
Here.
Alexandra Deek, Milton Mahoney, Ji-Hye Kim, Tyler Kinley, Jessica Lita, Jonathan Massey, Darren McKinnon.
See the agenda before you. I'm going to walk us through it. We are open for nominations, discussion. Let's get right into it. We'll begin with nomination and election of DDA board officers. First is the treasurer. Second. Discussion. Any other nominations? Okay, all those in favor of Micah Bartelme for DDA board treasurer, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. Mike Bartelme is elected as the fiscal year 23 DDA treasurer. Congrats, Micah. All right, right ahead, we have a nomination for board vice chair. Second. Discussion. Any other additional nominations? Seeing none, all in favor of Ji-Hye Kim for DDA board vice chair, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. Ji-Hye Kim is elected as the fiscal year DDA board, year 23 DDA board vice chair. And have a nomination for the board chair. I have a second. Any other nominations, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Tyler Kinley for DDA board chair, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. Kinley is elected as the fiscal year board Chair. Wonderful.
Everyone.
Excited to do it. Next, we'll evaluate the DDA committees for fiscal year 23. We could read through all these, but we've got it. So do I have a motion to reappoint the DDA capital improvements? So wait. Second. Discussion. That's where we are. Seeing no discussion. All those in favor of the resolution to reappoint the DDA capital improvements committee, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Resolution.
At what point do you discuss chairs and committee members? Like, is it under the resolution or later? Or who's doing it again? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm just going to.
Go ahead. You're 2 steps ahead. All those opposed to the resolution to reappoint the DDA capital improvement committee, please say nay. The resolution passes. Okay, the chair of the capital committee is Alexander Key. The other members of the committee are Tyler Nick, Darren, and let's discuss. Chair.
I didn't know one of them.
Cool, okay. So that's through the capital improvement committee, moving ahead. Operations. All those in favor of the resolution to reappoint the DDA operations, please say aye. You do need to move.
So moved.
Thank you. Discussion. All those in favor of the resolution to reappoint the DDA operations, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Chair of the operations committee is not Massey. The other members of the chair. Okay. Do you have a motion to reappoint the DDA affordable housing and economic development? Right. Any discussion? Okay. So
So you need a second.
you second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We've got a motion on the table to reappoint. So we've got to have some discussion and a vote on that motion before another motion is brought. So you can take part of the discussion. You can either be part of this discussion or we can look for the vote.
So under the discussion to reappoint the DDA affordable housing committee, you do not want to reappoint.
Micah, do you want to withdraw your motion and?
No, yeah.
No, I think we want to have some
Which is
discussion.
appropriate, like,
Okay.
this is what I want.
But so Jess's discussion and your.
Yeah, so let's discuss now.
We can discuss and then we can vote down. So
Did Micah get a second?
Yes.
Yeah, I know that we are moving towards having a full board strategy to A from and B for all of us to be able to publish our. I also think that Jeff and to the extent that any other staff members are contributing to this committee, I would like to relieve them of that responsibility for this coming year. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have a community in perpetuity. And given the fact that affordable housing work in the community is picking up steam, I think it's important for the board to be part of that work. Most of the work, the actual work that's being done in the committee is affordable housing grants and conversations. And I think that those can be effectively done either at the finance committee or the executive committee. And I feel like I have a third reason, but those are the two main ones, is to relieve the board of that responsibility and staff of anything to attend to the meeting.
sure.
Yeah, I think my brother was you were more from partnership. I think it's still pretty important. Relationships alive and active, monthly level, particularly with the bylaws are picking up steam and coordination, our efforts, how the commission to be, maybe keeping the relationship that, complement that, partners, in the community. That was
Strategy. Steps. It's not an expression of, having to not do it. It's my evaluation of staff.
well, and I wonder if there's not a middle ground to where there's less committee meetings. I know there's DDA only and partners, and maybe the partners one, everyone in the group support, and some of that work can be compressed into less meetings.
Quarterly or biannual.
That
for
may be
sure.
an option.
For sure. Absolutely.
So I stepped in to chair this committee a lot because I'm agreeing, I think, trying to find that middle ground where I do think we have a lot on our plate as a board and as a staff. And so we can consider the use of the DDA only meetings, but I do see a lot of value, especially in the full partner meetings. So I think that there is a middle ground, right? I'd like to try to head that up, finding a balance between minimizing the workload that you're noting, identified, but also maintaining the community and the relationship that's there. So that's where I'm coming from. That's where I feel comfortable.
I was strange that we had that every other month was kind of like not a real meeting. So I think there's a good argument to have this every 60 days plus or minus. The other thing for me, I struggled to attend this one because I think the carryover from the old partnerships committee. It's always been a 9 a.m. meeting. Every one of our meetings is 11 a.m. And I don't know if that was a particular partner at one point in time. There was at that time, but 9 a.m. seems a difficult time. Most people go for every time of the day. Maybe you can go to every other month and try to have it at 11 like the rest of them. But I would be okay with that. But I agree. Keeping those touch points, having regular dates, especially doing other people. I think it's important. We've got some new partners on the Washington Community College. I made sense of one after a long absence. And, keep it, but I have to expand that.
Not to bang the drum super hard, but I did remember my third point, which is that I find the brief for this committee vague and unclear. So I understand the opportunity to touch base with partners, absolutely, and this is a unique opportunity for us to be in working relationship with our TIP partners. I absolutely understand that. And we talked about this, right? Right before the world shut down, that we wanted to pause this committee until we had a clear understanding of the work that it was intended to accomplish. I appreciate that we're pivoting from partnerships to a work happening in economic development. I appreciate the clear focus, but there isn't a clearer focus on the work. And we do not see that happening while we're continuing to meet as a committee. And like 80% of the work done in committee is reported out to private partners. So I feel like this committee would be best served by stopping doing some mission value work around the committee and, probably to a larger extent, the board work as well, and then coming back to that. I don't see us abandoning those relationships. And I will say that when we're talking about those relationships, we should be pretty clear that those are ours. Staff already have strong and regular working relationships with all of them. Possible exception of WCC, I don't know. So I feel again, for that reason, that this is a committee that we don't need to move forward with in this fiscal year. And have that was the last thing.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'm still that I'll chair this committee, so I that's with value.
I agree as a member of it. Most of the time spent as a and then a lot of action. I'd love for our relationship building to happen more. And for example, you're doing public engagement around downtown, and that already happens with the big point people within institutions that have. But what I'm saying is, I think that there's ways to get a good relationship.
don't disagree with that, but I also think that it's important to have formal basis of relationship. I public entity. Public relationship. Formal way, be they a little less often, I think still valuable, given that the resource does, I think that's something to think about while we still maintain those relationships in some way. And maybe the board looks at this committee looks a little bit different, but next year. But I don't think that a hard stop on it. It's going to be 12 months. It's like the right step right now.
I do think this community, even though it may not be precise, and I get that you're reporting on partners. Capital improvements, we just, we approved these budget for this contract with the big part of that. Big part of it. It's also- Description, I would know, it's important, we here, rather than maybe I hear
Story. And actually, information around the story. Story is the DDA is failing to. We have to explain why we did it. Look like we're going to abandon something. So we don't want to, it's no longer relevant to us in the way that it has been. We have to explain in advance. We're going to take the step, but our commitment is still there. Here's things we're going to be doing or just doing this morning.
Pretty much what I think in this case.
So are we, I would suggest, considering the committee, I would chair it, we could consider canceling the DDA only ones, keep the 6 other total meetings. I would feel comfortable with that and being able to post the DDA only if there's like a compelling reason, which, like, yeah, I'm excited about that. But if not, then we cancel it on 6. Comfortable with that? Yeah. It's another thing. I mean, I'm just sort of.
I think what we're voting on is the actual.
Yeah.
The timing and the scheduling is not something we have right now, when we can deal with that administratively.
Yeah, I'm just getting that feeling that.
The existence of the committee is what.
Yeah.
Point.
Okay, well, do we feel comfortable voting? Yes, okay, so, given what, they just introduce how the vote here. That's what I
Right.
think.
So Jeff is back here.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's,
How we do this in the past?
We have to, Tyler.
in the past, I know, like, I've done it one where we did.
Yeah, either. Yeah.
Let's just have Jeff take roll call vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeff,
I would.
Michael Bartelme,
Aye.
Alexandra Deep,
I.
Bill Mahoney, Ji-Hye Kim, Tyler Kinley,
Aye.
Jessica Letaw,
Yeah.
Jonathan Massey, Aaron McKinnon.
Aye.
Okay, motion, resolution passes. Thank you all for that discussion. I mean, we always want to have this good stuff. And it's all good for consideration for me going forward. Two. Moving ahead. I have a motion to reappoint the DDA.
Chair and members.
Excuse me?
Chair and members.
Chair and members, chair and members, the chair of the committee, Tyler Kinley. We have others who wish to be members of.
I will join.
Any others?
Actually, be willing to go in based on the schedule, or is it a 9 a.m. Wednesday?
Also say that it's a great. Let people know what our city and the different partners and what goes on in the town. A great place to get some base knowledge.
Wonderful.
Tyler,
Yes.
good point. I'm talking about what the requirement is for the vote. And with the players, the only time we can have less than our quorum is if it's due to a conflict of interest. And so we don't have a quorum on the vote. I mean, we have all the members here though. I mean, we just didn't get but you have to have.
Yeah, I think so. It's not a majority of those present.
That's a quorum of the full board. Yeah, the only time you can, according to our bylaws at the moment, is because of conflict. That's why we were able to do the Bonson agreement, but otherwise, it's only, you have to have a quorum for it to pass.
So this case, we have to have a full, yes.
You have to have a full, yes.
Well, is there a way to retake the vote? Because I don't think it's fair on the whole consent topic to basically a process.
It's a resolution, right?
Yeah, we have to open it back up and do it, yeah. We do that, yeah.
Try again.
Can we do that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but
What's that?
okay,
Yeah, it's done before, so.
someone from the prevailing time.
Yeah.
So someone from the other side has to ask for reconsideration. We vote.
Okay, then I would like to write an email then. Yeah.
Yeah, we have.
Slash.
We haven't had.
I think we can. All this time. All those in favor of the resolution to reappoint DDA please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Got the resolution passed.
That was some government in action right there. Yes.
And I really appreciate staff for helping us like figure this out.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving her back on.
Like the wrong time for, but speaking of our bylaws, when we were getting more board members, but consider revisiting our form established and we'll get into a situation. We lose one more person today in the bus. We can't change our bylaws anymore until we get more board members. So we might want to reconsider the math on form calculation.
Yeah.
Reappoint DDA finance.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. DDA finance.
We each resignation, it's not a huge commitment. We meet 5-6 times a year. And we're relatively snappy. So someone can join me for 15 to 20 minutes. 6 times a year. Appreciate it. As a matter of fact, two members. Myself and there as well. So, be asking for a volunteer.
We've got two on ahead. I'm wondering if we can wait. I feel about finance committee this year is a really
That'd be fine, and you know what, since we don't have a meeting in September, hopefully have a couple of them. So, it'd be a great place, and I'd be happy to.
Vote. All those in favor of the resolution to reappoint the DDA finance committee, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Passes. Chair of finance committee, Michael Bartholomew. And we have any others right now? Think so? We'll add some more. Wonderful. We have a motion to reappoint the DDA executive. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the resolution to reappoint the DDA executive, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Resolution passes. Good job, everyone. Our committees. Are there members of the public who wish to address the DDA board today? Seeing none, you have a motion to adjourn the meeting. Second. Second. All those in favor of adjourning today's meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Motion passes. The meeting is adjourned.
I got a lot of here. Micah.
Exciting, we're saying.
We made it.
And